Okie dokie. We are going to start with grammar, and that's going to be on page 169. We have 2 lessons left in grammar, so you guys are going to totally finish this book by the time we're done. So after this week is only 2 weeks of class left, so maybe a little mixture of happy, sad feelings, huh? Maybe more happy than sad. Okay. Get this going here. 169. Coordinating conjunctions. You guys know that. Who remembers the word that we use to help us remember what those words are? Cassie, do you remember?
Fanboys.
Fanboys. There you go. Fanboys. All right. I got a glare here. So let's put fanboys on the side here and write this. Oops, I'm using the wrong pen. Oh, well. Fanboys. Okay, if you know what the F stands for, just unmute and say it. What does F stand for?
For.
Good. And it could be more than one person. What about A?
And.
Good. N?
Nor.
Nor. Good. B?
By.
No.
But.
But. With 1 T, not 2 T's. Okay, O?
Or.
Good. Y?
You.
No.
Yet.
Yet. S?
So.
There you go. Good. Well, I heard mostly Cassie and Wyatt. I think everybody else was thinking the same stuff, but that's okay. This is what you need to memorize: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so for fanboys. Now, it says, what are the 7 coordinating conjunctions? Well, we wrote them over there, so that's perfect. Find the coordinating conjunction and then circle the words it connects. So we got to first find the conjunction. So let's start with Wyatt. Looking at this sentence right here, can you read the sentence for us?
The princess hid the cloak, the horn, and the bag.
Okay, so where is the coordinating conjunction?
And.
Good. So let's just underline and first. Now, what is it connecting, Wyatt? What words is it connecting together? Do you know what I mean? You're looking for, is it connecting verbs? Is it connecting nouns? What words is it connecting?
The bag.
So it's connecting. So circle these: the cloak, horn, bag. But you're right, bag is the last thing it's connecting.
Okay.
Yep, you got it. But it's connecting those 3 things. Remember, when you list 3 things, you need to have commas in between. And that's why the commas are there. Okay, so let's try this one. Alexis, read this sentence and tell us what the coordinating conjunction is.
She did not want to give them to her father or the soldiers.
Good. What's the coordinating conjunction?
Two.
2 is not here. Remember, look at your list of fanboys.
Or.
There you go. Or. So underline or. Now, what 2 parts of the sentence is it connecting on either side here?
To the soldier, and she did not want to give it to her father.
To her father, you got it. To her father or to the soldier. So circle those 2 things. To her father or to the soldiers. That's the part it's connecting, is those 2 parts of the sentence. Good. How about Cassie? Read the next sentence and tell us what the conjunction is.
The beautiful but greedy princess was unhappy, and the conjunction is but.
Good. And what is it connecting?
The beautiful and greedy princess.
Good. We're just going to circle the two adjectives, beautiful and greedy. So it's connecting beautiful but greedy. Okay, good. And then the next one, Delilah, go ahead and read this sentence right here.
Okay. She wanted relief, yet refused to tell the truth.
Good. So what is the coordinating conjunction there, Delilah?
Yet.
Good. And what two words is it connecting?
Release and refuse.
Yes, good. You got it. Very good. Down here, add coordinating conjunctions to the following sentences. So this time we're going to add a coordinating conjunction. So Chase, read this first one and tell us which one of these words from Fanboys should we put in that sentence?
The princess slept all night, but was still tired.
Good. Yes, I like that one. But because she slept all night, she shouldn't feel tired, but she still was tired. So but works in that sentence. All right, back to Wyatt. Read this one and tell us what word would go best in that sentence.
The king loved his daughter, but he corrected her.
But he corrected her, or another good one would be so, because that's kind of explaining why he corrected her. That just means like, maybe she got in trouble and he's like, you should never do that, or some kind of a,
Okay.
fatherly advice. The king loved his daughter, so he corrected her. And then the last one, Alexis, right here.
The princess at
8, actually.
the princess ate almond, oatmeal, raisins, and
Walnuts.
walnut.
Yeah. Okay, good. And you're right. That's a good one to put there. It's listing the things that she ate. So, okay, good job. That's it for that page. So let's move on to the practice page. Which is page 171. Cassie, can you read the sentence, please?
Yeah. Since the princess wanted the 3 stolen gifts, she denied that she had stolen the property.
Okay, good. Denied is our vocabulary word in that sentence, and it just means that you said something that's not true, or she said something that's not true. Okay, so denied, she's like trying to lie. Go ahead and check vocabulary. And you know what to do here for the articles, a and the. Go ahead and mark those. Okay. Did you mark them, Delilah? Okay. All right, moving on to nouns. We'll go down to Delilah next. Go ahead and find 3 nouns. Oh, you're muted. If you're talking, Delilah.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead and find 3 nouns in that sentence.
Property.
Property, good.
Gifts.
Yes.
Maybe princess.
Yes, good. You got it. All right, how about Chase? We need two pronouns. Remember what those are?
It is she and she.
Yes, she and she. Good. Okay, back to Wyatt for adjectives.
3.
Good. Although, you know what? Before you move on, 3 we're supposed to write as a number word, remember?
I already kind of did it, but
Okay, so everybody else, make sure you cross it out and write 3. And then that is an adjective, so I'm going to put ADJ on top of that. So make sure you spell out 3.
and then I think the second one is stolen.
Yes, because that's describing the gifts, right? Good job.
Yes.
Very good. All right, Alexis, we're looking for a that clause.
Decided that.
So it starts with that, and then where's the end of it?
Huh?
How far does it go, the whole clause?
That she was stolen, that she had stolen the property.
Yes, good. The whole rest of the sentence there, good. And then we're going to write the word that here on top of that. Okay, and then let's see, where are we at? Oh, Cassie, what about the adverb clause? Remember the adverb clause is the www.asia word?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember those words? Let's just put, while she's thinking, let's just put www.asia.b here, just as a little reminder. It's when, while, where, as, since, if, although, because. Those are those words. When, while, where, as, since, if, although, because. Did you see one of those words?
Since.
Yes. Where does it end though? Since, tell me the whole clause.
Since the princess wanted the 3 stolen gifts.
Yes, good. So that whole part is the adverb clause, and we're going to label it AC for adverb clause. Good, Cassie. Okay, so next we're going to find the subjects and the verbs. So I'm going to start with Delilah. You're going to help us find the verbs, okay? And some of them are helping verbs, but where are all the action words in here?
Princess is subject.
Okay, she's telling us subject first. That's okay. And what did the princess want to do, or what was the princess doing?
Stole.
Stolen is an adjective, so it's not going to be that one. Remember, if it has a label, you're not going to count that one.
Wanted.
Wanted, there you go. That's one verb. And then she also, later in the sentence, what are some other verbs? Action words.
Stolen.
Yes, stolen. Good. Oh, you said stolen up here. I was thinking you were talking about that stolen. You guys notice that there's 2 words stolens in here? And one of them is an adjective, yeah. And the other one's a verb. So you probably said that one, and I was thinking you were talking about this one.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Delilah.
It's okay.
And then what's another verb?
See? Or no, had.
Had. That's a linking verb. Good. It's linking she and stolen together. Okay, and there's one more.
I really don't know what the word is, but it's D-E-N-I-E-D.
Good. That word is denied. Denied. And you're right, that is a verb. So I'm going to ask Chase, what is the subject that goes with denied? Who was it that denied?
She.
Good. And then this one here, had stolen. What's the subject in that clause? She again. Awesome. You guys got it. And we already fixed the number. We need a capital here at the beginning. And an end mark at the end is a period. Remember to indent. It shows us that it's indented here. So don't forget that. So you'll start in a little bit. And go ahead and write the sentence. I see that thumbs up. Is everybody done? Oh, it looks like Wyatt's writing. Okay. Oh, you're done, Chase? Okay. Okay, good. Go ahead and put your grammar books away. Good job, guys. And your homework is the next 3 pages for grammar. All righty. Moving on to writing. In your binder, I want you to get out Marco Polo. We started working on this last week. We're going to keep going on this. So make sure you find your Marco Polo story. This is it's more like an article about his life. He's a real person. I know we talked a little bit about Marco Polo, the game in the swimming pool. It's one of those games that's like really fun, but it does cause a lot of arguments sometimes because people are like, I tagged you. No, you didn't. You didn't tag me. Yes, I did. So that's the only downside to this game in the pool. Sometimes it causes a little tension, shall we say. But it was a real guy, Marco Polo, and he did a lot of traveling. So when we read this last week, we did each paragraph at a time, and then we made a little note in the margin about what was that paragraph mostly about. So what we're learning here is how to write a report using one big source, right? We did a little bit of practice with, what did we write about? The Sahara Desert. We wrote about all this. Oh, that's what it was. The snake and the reptiles, right? And we had different sources that we used. This is just one big one. And what we're looking for is topics. Okay, and we have early life for that first paragraph. It talks about his childhood, a little bit about where he grew up and what his family was like. And then this paragraph was talking about traveling to China. That was what it was mostly about. So his first big trip was to China. Remember, they were merchants, so they traded. We don't really know what they traded, but they went to China to trade. And then on the back of that page, on page 100, we read this paragraph, and it was talking about his work in China, what he did. And we decided he was in his probably mid-20s by the time he got there. And they asked him to be a tax collector. Remember that? And it was a high-paying job. But I kind of get the feeling like maybe he wasn't super liked, because I don't know about you if you know about taxes, but if your parents have ever talked to you about that, it's one of those things that is really irritating and frustrating, because, taxes is on everything, especially in California. Anytime you buy anything in California, there's taxes on top of the cost. And then at the end of the year, we have to pay more taxes usually from our earnings. So it feels like the state and the federal get a lot of our money. And I'm sure your parents someday will explain all of that to you, but being a tax collector would be a difficult job, I would think. So that's what that paragraph was all about. Most of it was about his work there.
You
And
can
then
be mad.
huh?
You can be mad at taxes or happy because it pays for the police, ambulances, roads, and
Very
it
good,
is
Chase.
going up because America has to send stuff to Ukraine. And without taxes, there's no government. You kind of just live on the street.
You know, and I'm really glad you said that, Chase. Thank you for that. And it's true. We need taxes because that does pay for a lot of things. It just for me, it feels like we're always paying taxes. I understand that's necessary. And those things you mentioned are really important. So it's definitely good that the money is going to something important. So roads, police, all the first responders and the, firefighters and all of those types of jobs, definitely. And then the roads. Yeah, those are all good things. And then relief for other people and countries. So you're right. Thank you, Chase, for that reminder. All right. This paragraph here on the bottom of 100 is all about traveling home. So he ended up doing his work in China, and then he traveled back home. Do you guys remember where his home was? Where did he come from? He was born in Italy.
Italy?
Yes, good, Cassie. He was born in Italy, so he worked his way back to Italy. This is page 101. This is where we left off right here at the end of this paragraph, but that paragraph was all about his life after his travels once he got back home. And then we have one more paragraph to read, and then we're going to start working on your report. So that's where we're at now. This last paragraph that starts with the book. I'm going to read this, and then we're going to make a note in the margin about what you think that paragraph is mostly about. Okay. The book, entitled Description of the World or The Travels of Marco Polo, sold well and widely. However, many people didn't believe his stories. And the book got the nickname The Million Lies. At that time, books had to be hand copied, so it is possible that his stories were changed over the years. Nevertheless, people were amazed at the things he wrote. 2 centuries later, that's 200 years later, the book inspired Christopher Columbus to think he could reach India by sailing west from Europe. On his deathbed, Polo was asked to admit that parts of his book were just made up. He answered that he had told barely half of what he actually saw. So it's interesting because back in those days, remember, this is like 1200. We didn't have, obviously we didn't even have internet or computers or cell phones or ways to do research at all. And so they only had books. And then these books were actually handwritten. And so the stories that he told were so elaborate that they didn't believe they were true. Did you want to say something, Chase?
So basically, fun facts, it said Christopher Columbus, and Christopher Columbus isn't a good person. He killed a bunch of people. When he went to America, he killed all the natives to steal their stuff. He also didn't discover the earth was round. The people discovered that by like a tower using a shadow. So since something away from it had a different shadow, it must have been, they used the stars and stuff to know that the earth was round. He thought it was pear-shaped.
Oh, right. Okay.
And we shouldn't celebrate Christopher Columbus. He killed so many people and didn't discover
Interesting.
the earth was round.
I wonder why they did not include that in the history books. Why do you think, Chase?
Well, it would be very bad to explain to a a second grader that about murder and stuff.
Yeah. So they kept it positive for the sake of children, is what you're saying, because they didn't want
Well,
the children.
Well,
Yeah.
for the people to be taught children. I think in like high school you'll be told that Christopher Columbus was a terrible person.
Because, in elementary school with you guys are older, but we learned about Christopher Columbus. We learned some songs about him. We read some books about him. And, it was all positive because he's the one that actually figured out that the world was round. I mean, that's what they say. And, all the adventures that he went on and all the places he saw. So interesting facts there, Chase. And you're like a walking history book.
If you look up on Google, it'll say that he thought the earth was pear-shaped. And I think they thought that the earth was round a long time ago because the shadows from big towers were different in different places. And it should be different because of the sun, but
yeah,
it was way too different. So they used their brains and discovered that it was round.
Yeah. And, we live in the information era now where everything's at our fingertips, right? But we have to be careful about that too, because we can't always believe everything on Google either. It's hard. It's hard to know what's a credible source, like what is telling the truth and what is not. So especially for you guys, as you get older and you get into high school and you get these research papers and you have to find information online, it's really, really difficult to know what is the truth, the true information, and then what's made up, because it all looks so real. So you have to be careful. And I know you are, Chase, and you're discovering some things. And, I don't know. We have to find out for ourselves if that was really true about Christopher Columbus or not. So
Is a university a credible source for you?
it depends, not always. So what university is it?
The one of Ohio.
Okay.
That's the top page on Google. Is the Wikipedia a credible source?
Wikipedia is not a credible source. No, I'm going to absolutely say no to that. People can put anything they want on Wikipedia, and you can't tell what's real on that site. So whenever I'm teaching research, I tell students stay away from Wikipedia. And it's interesting because when you Google something like Christopher Columbus, Wikipedia is like the first one that comes up. So watch out for that. Okay, Chase, some of that's not real.
We can agree to disagree, but
yes,
Christopher, my mom also believes that grizzly bears are in California.
Okay,
She believes the show Dance Moms is real, so it's not
okay. Well, let's stay on topic. You got a lot of interesting things to say, Chase. I think you're either going to be a professor someday or maybe a lawyer or something. I don't know. You've got a really active brain and you remember a lot of things. That's pretty good. All right. So for this last paragraph, though, this is paragraph 6. This paragraph was mostly about his book. So go ahead and write the word book in the margin there. That's what that paragraph was mostly about. So now that we have a list of the different topics in this article, I want you to get out from last week. Let me get mine out here. Remember this one that we wrote last week? This was part of our note page here. I want you to find that page. It should be at the front of your binder. That's where you should be keeping all your current stuff. Good discussion, though. I really am glad to talk to you guys about these things because you will be doing research eventually for your homework. Not necessarily in my class, but in other classes later. Did you guys find this? Thumbs up if you got it. Good. Okay, good. All right, so we have our list that we're starting here. We always start with the subject. Whenever you're told to write a research paper or a report, You want to start with the subject. This subject is Marco Polo. And then it says to find possible topics. That's where we start making a list. And if you look back on the paragraphs, the first paragraph we put early life. That is a possible topic. So I want you to write underneath here, early life. That was the first paragraph. So what you're doing now is transferring your notes from your margin to a list here on your note page. And the next one says travel to China. That was the second paragraph. That's the note we put there. I'm on this front page, Marco Polo. So travel to China is next. Okay. On the back of that page, remember, this is page 100. The first paragraph on that page is work in China. So we're going to copy that down. Work in China. So this is part of the process of making a report or writing a report, reading your information, gathering the topics, making a list, and then we're going to choose from that list. The next paragraph on page 100 is travel home. So we're going to write that here. Travel home. That's a topic. Get this one out. Then the next paragraph is on page 101. Life after travels was the note we put on that paragraph. So let's put life after travels. And then the very last paragraph that we just read was about his book. So we're going to just put book for that one. Okay, now there are, how many topics can you count there? See if somebody can count those and tell me how many topics are there.
5.
6.
There's 6, so you might want to count again. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6.
topics. Yeah, you got it. Okay. 6 topics. Now, remember, each topic is a paragraph. And when we're writing a report, we're only writing 3 paragraphs, but there's 6 topics and we only need to pick 3. And notice there is kind of an order to these topics. So you don't want your first paragraph to be about life after travels, and then your second paragraph be about his early life, because that would be confusing to the reader. So there is some logical order to how to write these reports. You want to make sure to go in time order. So the next step, and I want you to skip a line here and put number 3, because we're still making notes on the process here. So we're going to choose number of topics. I'm going to put the number sign needed. So when you get an assignment to write a report, you need to find out how many topics or how many paragraphs do you need for your report. And underneath that, I want you to put 3 paragraphs equals 3 topics. I'll wait for a second so you can catch up to me. 3 paragraphs equals 3 topics. So for my assignment, you're writing 3 paragraphs. So that means you're going to choose 3 topics. Okay, so let me review while you're writing that down. First step is figuring out what is your subject. We know it's Marco Polo. Second step is to find possible topics. We did that by reading the paragraphs, found those topics. The third step is choose the number of topics needed. For my assignment, it's 3 paragraphs, and that means 3 topics. So we're going to only choose 3 out of these 6. in a minute. The fourth step, go ahead and skip a line and put 4. That is when we write KWO. I know you guys know what that means. Unmute and tell me what's KWO.
Keyword outline.
Keyword outline.
Yes, woo, good job. Keyword outline. We've been doing that since day 1, right? Keyword outline. And then you're going to choose, I'm just going to put a dash there. Choose facts. So these are your topics. They go next to the Roman numeral, but then underneath the Roman numeral, you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are facts. Okay, that's information about the topic. And this is where, remember I used to tell you this, summarize. Remember the word summarize, that's not how you spell it. That's my way of spelling it. Because some information, you're not going to write all the information, you're only picking some of the information to put in your report. It would be really hard to put all of the information in. And it's kind of silly if you put all the information in, because then you could just say, why don't you just read the article yourself? All the information's in there. So the point is you're taking some of it and putting it into your report, okay? And so you're gonna have 5, I'm gonna do another little math sign here. 5 facts times 3 topics. Underneath the 3 topics are 5 facts. And you probably know what 5 times 3 is, huh? That's pretty easy.
15.
15, that's right. That's an easy one. So your report is only 15 sentences. You don't have to do like 100 sentences. Just 5 for each paragraph. Actually, technically 6 if you count the topic sentence. Okay, we'll go back through that. And then the last step, skip a line, put number 5. You're going to write report from keyword outline with checklist. That's important to use your checklist. Now, I have to tell you while you're writing this, keep writing so you can catch up to me. Some students, I'm not going to say who, but some students are checking off the checklist, but not really making sure it's in your writing. I see checks there when you put your checklist on there, and then I go back and I look for your dress-up words and they're not there. So you don't check your checklist until you actually put it in your writing. Once it's in there, you got your ly adverb, you can put a check at ly adverb for the first paragraph. You see what I mean? Don't put the check in the box until you actually put it in your writing. Because some students, I think, are just going check, 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 done, and then turn it in. And then I don't see those words in there. So don't do that. If you're doing that, don't do that. Okay. So 5 steps to writing a report. Subject, possible topics, choose the topics that you need, 3. Write your keyword outline. Your keyword outline is going to have 5 facts under each topic. And then you're going to write your report from your keyword outline using your checklist too. 5 steps. It's not that bad. All right. So let's get a new clean piece of paper out. Let's get this thing started. New lined piece of paper. Delilah, are you still with us? Your camera's off. I'd like for you to turn it on. I can't tell.
She's probably in the bathroom.
Oh, there she is. Okay.
No, Grandma was looking for a paper and I forgot to unsee it.
Okay. Do you have paper now? Okay, good. Get a new piece out. This is going to be for your name. Put your name here. Today's date is April 25, 2023. Delilah?
The screen's black.
What's happening?
The screen's black for me.
Oh, you can't see my paper?
I can see your screen or paper.
Oh, okay. It must be on
You know
your
what?
end, Kayla.
Maybe if you go and put,
You can't pin her.
you can.
Well, you can, but it won't see the screen.
Can you see me or?
I can see you, but not the
Okay.
screen. It's just black.
You're in a little picture up at the top, but her screen to see her work or what you're doing is black.
Was it black earlier too, Delilah?
I'm not too sure.
When we did grammar, could you see the grammar book?
Yes, but now it's black and I don't know the reason.
You might have to log out and log back in. I don't know what happened there.
Okay.
Okay, I'll let
So
you
do
back in.
Okay, Grandma, I can do this on my
Okay,
phone.
you go ahead.
Okay. All right. This is Marco Polo. And this is going to be our keyword outline. And go ahead, skip a line. You guys know what to do. So this is going to be one topic, and then you're going to write 1 through 5. We're going to just set this up so we're ready to work on it. And then the word clincher. And just as a little reminder, in the margin up here, go ahead and write the word topic too. That's next to the Roman numeral. So that's just a reminder that the Roman numeral is the topic. And then these are the facts. We've been practicing this, so I think you know this now. And then the clincher. And most of you are doing an excellent job with your topic and clincher sentences. But remember, that's on your checklist. So you want to make sure to include that for every paragraph. Okay. And we're going to do 3 of these. So go ahead and skip a line. And we're going to do Roman numeral 2. Do the same thing. Okay. We're just going to set it all up so it's ready to go. Don't forget to put topic here. Skip a line. We'll do number 3. I'll give you a minute to do this. Okay. Okay, and then it's all set once you get that set up. Give me a thumbs up when you got your outline set up. Okay, I see that, Wyatt. I see that, Alexis. Okay, good. Keep working on it if you're still finishing it up. I'm going to just talk and you can listen to me. Back to our note page here and the possible topics here. Remember, I said there's 6 possible topics, but we only need 3. We need 1, 2, 3. And looking at the early life, that could be a topic. By the way, if you can pick which topic you want to write about. I'm going to do one right now together. So you probably want to copy me for this first one. But we could write about the early life of Marco Polo, but honestly, there's not a whole lot of interesting stuff about his early life. I mean, that's just an opinion, but you know, it just starts out about, I know his mother died when he was young, and then he was in Italy, and his father and uncle, they went to China when he was 6 years old. So to me, because we can only pick 3 topics, I'm going to pick travel to China. That's where things get really interesting, in my opinion. So go ahead and circle travel to China, because we can just start with that. But if it's, you know, a different person, like, I don't know, Christopher Columbus, since his name came up, talking about his early life might be important to include in your report. Now we're practicing. So, you know, if you're going to do a biography on somebody, you probably want to start with their early life. But since we're going to jump right into his travel to China, normally a report is 5 paragraphs long. I'm only having you do 3, okay? But if I were to have you do 5, you would have an introduction paragraph and a conclusion paragraph. So this would be considered your body paragraph. So in your introduction paragraph, that's where you could mention where he grew up, what his life was like as a child, leading into topic number 1. Does that make sense to you guys? If you were doing a 5-paragraph essay, that's what you would be doing, but this is 3 paragraphs. So we're just going to start right off with his travel to China. So I am going to put MP for Marco Polo. I'm circling MP up here so we can remember what MP stands for, right? Marco Polo. And then we're going to put travel to China. And remember, when he first traveled to China, they decided to go by land, right? That was the first trip. They started to sail to Israel, and they said instead of sailing around India to China, they decided to do the overland route. Do you guys remember how long it took them to get to China? It says in that paragraph.
2-3 years.
3 years. More, actually, it says more than 3 years. So long time. So I'm going to put long. That was a long travel to China. And you can mention 3 years there if you wanted to. But let's look at page 99 right here. This is where it talks about his first travel to China. So looking at this paragraph, when Marco was 17 years old, that's when he left with his father and uncle on a trip across Asia to China. So I think that's interesting. He was only 17 years old. I know that's older than you guys, but it's not very old, really. You might have a brother or sister that's 17 or almost 17.
And my sister's 30.
Okay. So that seems like that would be an appropriate age to travel across to China. But at 17, that seems kind of young. So let's put MP right here. This is on number 1. I'm on regular number 1 here. MP, he left with his father on a trip to China. So I'm going to put 17, and I'm going to put an abbreviation here. YRS stands for years. That way I don't have to count that yet. So far I don't have to count anything. And then I'm going to put the word old, 17 years old. So Marco Polo was 17 years old, and he traveled. He left with his father and uncle on a trip. So I'm going to put trip. Let's see, how can we include father and uncle without using those words? Because we already have 2 words. So Marco Polo was 17 years old. And he went on a trip with his, how about we put father and then UNC, unk. Can you remember that's uncle? If not, you can look back and go, what was UNC for? Unk? Was unk? Oh yeah, uncle. Okay, so we got Marco Polo was 17 years old and he went on a trip with his father and uncle to China, right? That's where he went. And then it says they set off from Venice in 1271 and sailed to Israel. I'm looking for interesting information, so I'm going to keep going here. They carried letters from the Pope in Rome. Okay, that's pretty interesting. They carried letters from the Pope in Rome. Okay, anybody have any ideas of how we can include that in our outline? The part where it says they carried letters from the Pope in Rome. Anybody have any ideas on how we could write that in our outline? Well, how about carry?
Letter Pope?
Yes, I like that. Carried. I'm going to put letters plural because that's what it said. And then Pope is not capitalized, but if you remember, Pope is the leader, the big leader in the Catholic Church. He's a really important person in the Catholic Church. Okay, good. Thank you, Chase. And then if I look back on this paragraph, you see what I'm doing? I hope I'm not going too fast here, but I'm looking at my travel to China because that's the topic we picked for this one. I'm only looking in this paragraph for information to put in his travels to China. So I'm looking back again on page 99, and it says they carried letters from the Pope in Rome. In Jerusalem, they were given some sacred oil to present to the Mongol emperor. That's kind of interesting, the sacred oil. And then it goes on to say 2 friars were ordered to accompany the merchants, but they abandoned the expedition. I think I'm going to mention, so I'm just modeling for you guys how to find interesting information, but when you do this by yourself, you might pick something different than me because your opinion, it might be a little different than mine. So the information you find interesting could be different. I think it's interesting they carried some sacred oil to present to the Mongol emperor. So, and that was in Jerusalem. So I'm going to put Jerusalem, given sacred oil. All right. So let's put Jerusalem. How about we do Jerusalem and then sacred oil? By the way, when you go to write this report, I want to remind you again, if you get to this part and you go, Jerusalem sacred oil, what was that? Because that might not trigger a memory for you. So you would go back to your paragraph and find out what they actually wrote in that paragraph. And that will help you write your sentence. It's okay to do that. You don't want to copy the sentence because that's called plagiarism, but you can look back to see what the sentence was and then put it into your own words if you need to. Okay. We just need to come up with a couple more facts here, 2 more to be exact. The friars were ordered to accompany, but they abandoned the expedition. I don't know about that one. That's not super important. If I keep going, instead of sailing around India to China, the Polos decided an overland route. So what if we, really tiny, I know how to draw a little sailboat. I'm going to go like this. And a little triangle up there. A little sailboat. Okay, I know it's not great, but that's as good as it gets for me. And then if you circle it and then draw a line through it, that means they didn't sail. See if you can do that in yours. Draw a tiny little sailboat, circle it and draw a line. They didn't sail, right? Instead of sailing, the Polos decided on an overland route. Decided overland route. It could be pronounced route or route, either way. One of those tomato words. Okay, I'm gonna give you a second to write that down, but I'm gonna keep looking because I want to finish this part of the outline because this will be your homework, is writing this paragraph. Okay, so passing through Iran and then Afghanistan, they continued east. The Polo's caravan traveled over mountains and through deserts following the oasis. After more than 3 years of travel, they finally reached the court of Emperor Kublai Khan. 3 years of travel. Wow. So let's put that. 3, I'm going to abbreviate years again. And then put travel. And then let's put reached. And then let's put this guy's name. Whenever we have a name, you can count it as one word because it's really like his first and last name. K-U-B, oops. K-U-B-L-A-I-K-H-A-N. Anytime I hear that word Khan, I always think of, isn't it Star Wars that has a character named Khan? Oh no, he's a Marvel character. Khan.
Are you talking about like the big monkey, King Kong?
Oh no, King Kong. That would be K-O-N-G.
Or Shere Khan from Jungle Book.
No, I'm thinking of maybe I'm thinking of the wrong character. He's one of the evil guys in the Marvel characters. Khan. Oh, wait. Is it
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes? No, maybe I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I have so many movies in my head all at the same time right now. I wonder if it's Star Trek. I'll find out. I'll tell you next time. Khan is like a bad character in a movie that I've seen kind of recently, and I can't remember what movie it was. So just forget everything I just said, because I'll tell you next week who it is. Now it's going to bug me. All right. So we finished this topic, his travel to China. So your homework this week is going to be to write the first paragraph of your report, just one paragraph. But don't forget, because some of you are still forgetting. Look at your checklist. This is page 103. You've got these words that you need to include in each paragraph. So only focus on paragraph 1, but do not put a check mark here until you actually put it in your paragraph. Then put a check. You got to underline it too. You've got these 4 dress up words, and then be careful of these banned words, because you might be tempted to use think or thought, especially go or went, because he went to China. Don't use went. He traveled to China. He went on a journey to China, however you want to say that, but don't use these banned words. And then the topic clencher, that's going to be important to remember too for this first paragraph, but don't put a check here yet, because that's only when you're done with all 3 paragraphs later. Okay, so your homework is your 3 grammar pages and 1 paragraph from Marco Polo. Any questions about your homework this week? Nope, you're good? Khan, who's Khan? Khan, maybe it's a Star Trek thing.
Convoy?
No. That's gonna bug me now. Does that ever happen to you? It's like you can't remember, and it's like,
Yes, it always happens to me. And it's usually when I misplace something.
Oh yeah.
Like I placed it right there. Then I just found out that my mom just like put it
Yeah,
in,
it's from
like,
Star
somewhere.
Trek.
Is it
It's
Star
from Star
Trek? That's what I thought. Okay, I'm looking on my phone.
Yeah. See, this is what I found.
I think that's it. Con. Yes, yes, it's Star Trek. Okay, let me pull up a picture. Star Trek. He's one of the
I've got to go.
Oh, okay. Bye, Cassie. I'll see you next time. I
Bye.
can't find a picture of him, but anyway, it's Star Trek. It's an old movie, so. And then Wyatt's going to stay on because I'm going to talk with him for a second, but everybody else, you guys are free to go, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys. Have a good one.